What's up, guys? Another episode of the Crappie Connection here. Got myself Justin Berry,
Brad Chappell,
and we have Brian Young from Eufaula. Is that right? Eufaula, Oklahoma?
Eufaula, Oklahoma.
Spell it, Justin.
E-U-F. No, you've been running guy service for 15 years here, right?
16 years, in Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma. I was on Eufaula for the first 4 or 5 years and then branched out to about 6 or 7 different lakes. And just had some interest in those different lakes for different reasons, certain times of the year the fish should turn on.
First thing that pops my mind, you've been on guy for 15 years. What's the number one thing you see other anglers make as a mistake that they do? What do they do wrong?
The difference in a guide or a professional angler or somebody that's on the water a lot, the number one thing is boat control.
Boat control.
They fish too fast. Meaning they don't know how to control what they got, or they've got high dollar electronics, like high dollar trolling motor, fantastic boat, but they may not have the time to spend on the water to learn how to use it. It's funny you asked me that. My brother, he's been fishing with me for years. He's my tournament partner on ACT, but he's learning how to use his boat, his electronics, trying to get that confidence going on. And after you get that confidence and you can get in your boat, go fishing by yourself, and go catch some fish, and you truly become a good angler then. And I was fortunate years ago to have an old man take me under his wing and teach me. And with guiding, it's an opportunity for me to teach people crappie fishing. And I think when the Crappie Connection, man, you guys started this. It's awesome. I mean, we're helping everybody catch more fish, and that's a good thing. And I hear techniques and read stuff on Facebook. Man, I don't think there's a bad technique, a wrong technique. If you got a pole, a bait, and it's in the water,
get it.
Hey, get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that, you've never been on a guide trip they bring their 9-year-old son or 9-year-old daughter, and they want to fish with their Snoopy pole, and they got it in the water, and guess who catches the biggest fish of the day? It's on the Snoopy pole.
That's right.
There you go.
What all lakes are you guiding on, Brian?
Eufaula, Tin Killer, Fort Gibson, Worcester, Kerr, some of the navigational system. Recently picked up another one, Atoka, and then the lakes that I grew up on when I was growing up as a kid. I haven't guided on them yet, but they're really good crappie lakes too. So basically, just anywhere in eastern Oklahoma. Another teaching thing that I do is sometimes guys call me. They want me to get on their boat and go guide them out of their boat.
Oh, really?
I've done that.
Have you done that?
Absolutely.
How many times have you done that?
I'd say only a handful of times, but I actually have a lot of people call wanting to do that. I wish,
Really?
For me, it kind of saves gas and wear and tear. And,
How many times have you done that, Brian?
And something new.
I've probably done it a dozen, but the great thing is it's a good trip, because if you struggle, they want to see it. They want to see you struggle. They want to see the whole process of finding fish and catching fish. And if anybody tells you they go out and catch them every day, they
wrong.
They
don't fish enough.
Man. They don't fish enough, man. Because the longer you do this, you're more humble. Each day.
How many hours does it take you to get here, Brad? 7?
7.5, 8
That's
hours.
about the same for me. So if somebody wants to make that trip like what we've done here, when's the best time to come to Oklahoma and jump in a boat with you?
It depends on what you want to catch. You want to catch a big white crappie, March, April, May. Big black crappie, October, November, December. Like Fort Gibson is one of those lakes. You guys are on it today, and y'all didn't get to experience it in its when it was going good. But when you're talking 14, 15, 16-inch black specks,
oh man, that's my favorite. I'll look chasing
the structure scan years ago when it first came out, we were going, and the Grand River comes down through that lake, and there's not very many bridges on it. But there's 500 to 1,000 laydowns on the river system, and what happens is that lake floods all the time, and it sets up them laydowns on the edges of the channel up through there. And when we were driving over there taking screenshots of structure scan, I mean, it looked like footballs. He's seen it, Brad's seen it, all over. Another way, all these different techniques. I go to a clear lake. It's different technique, man. It's
Are you scared of clear water?
No,
you're not.
Absolutely not.
A lot of people are.
Me.
I guess Clearwater. I was fortunate to get into, go with somebody different because they're going to teach you something that day.
Yeah.
I went with a guy buddy of mine named Jamie Cottle from Tenkiller, and we were on the south end of Tenkiller, and we had 10 to 12 foot visibility. 10 to 12 foot. So we're looking, and the water's that clear. Usually they're going to be on structure, and usually you idle around. You don't see a lot of roaming fish. Lifescope, that's kind of changing some of the things that we thought was true, and then proven to us to some of the things that we believed all the time. It's proven that they were true, but we pull in on a brush pile. It's springtime. It's April. They're spawning in 25-foot
Wow.
brush pile. And he pulls the first female out, and she's squirting eggs all over the boat. And she's a 2-pound fish. Throwing an 1/8 ounce Roadrunner with a curly tail, or a Bobby Garland stroller, whatever, and tickling those limbs coming across that brush pile.
What color?
Pumpkin chartreuse with a red head.
It's amazing me, crappie fisherman, and I'm the same way. I can tell you, different from tournaments to just fun fishing facts that I remember those kind of details that kind of stick in my mind that I hope that never go away, but it's just something about them that makes the pumpkin and everything like that just helps you come back in the future and catch fish again too.
It does, and one of the other trips I've done over there, one of the unique things about Tenkiller, and I had some older guys teach me how to fish it, but those fish will spawn. I believe they spawn. I don't know if they spawn, but they sure stay in them deep trees, deep treetops, and I'm talking about, you get on the old river channel, it'll go from 30 to 65 foot, and these trees are 30 and 40 foot tall, so underneath the water, 25 to 35 foot down, you could drive over the top of them with your structure scan, and you could count how many fish was in there. And I didn't really believe that till I'd heard a story of Jason Christie, sponsored by Garmin, big bass fisherman. He takes his uncle crappie fishing. The first time the Generation 3 Lowrance structure scan had came out, and he said, we're going to see how good this is. And he drives over that treetop, and he counts 16 crappie. They catch 15. He goes, I wonder if there's still one left on that tree. He drove over the top of it. There was one left on that tree.
Are you serious? Wow.
Yeah. But
Did he go back and catch it?
no, he left it. He left it. The limit over there is 15 per person.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So,
Throw it
but
back.
the great thing is, if I sell a trip like that in Clearwater, I'm from Eufaula. It's muddy. We don't get to see the fish out there 30 or 40 feet from the boat fighting you, flaring his gills. And you get excited when it's a 2-pound fish because you see it's a 2-pound fish, and he looks 2.5 because he's magnified in the water. Them guys get excited about that. It's pretty awesome stuff.
What's the deepest crappie you pulled out of water? What's the deepest you caught one in?
68 foot, probably 32, 33 feet deep.
33 feet deep. Vertical jigging.
Vertical jigging. Wintertime, colder the better.
What did it look like when it came out?
Oh, it's beautiful. The water's clear.
No, the fish. I've heard. Have you heard of that?
Didn't
Have
feel
you heard?
very well.
Huh?
He probably didn't feel very well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen fish of pictures that when you pull them up that deep, like they bleed out of their nose and stuff. I've never experienced though. Have you experienced that, Brad?
I think I want that deep.
I would think you'd have to fizz them, but it's so cold. I mean, we weren't paying attention to keeping the fish alive. Now, if you're in a tournament setting, absolutely, and I'm not sure you'd want to target that fish unless you could take care of it.
Right.
So I don't know, but it's pretty fun lake. We weren't able to get on it this season because of the high water, and it's one of them player lakes, man. It's jet skis and big boats and all that stuff on it. So we're on it, fall through the wintertime, through the spring. We're not on it in the summer, and that's another reason why you have a variety of lakes you can go to. So
when you're guiding, what kind of techniques do you usually take people out and get them to do?
Oh man, usually the easiest thing, you don't know who's going to show up and want to go fishing. You call them on the phone, they show up, and you got what you got. And so rigging, I put 2 up there in the front seat, and we rig, and I stand behind them, run the trolling motor with the remote. And I started doing that a couple of years ago. I did that for years, and then I tried Huckabee's Way. And Huckabee's Way is a great way. It's probably the most popular way in Oklahoma.
What's his way?
Double dipping, rod in each hand, heavy rod, heavy line, big hook, no net, bring them right in the boat. But you don't always have clients that can do that. You have a 70-year-old man, or you have a lady that shows up, or you have kids that show up. My business card, I got a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old holding crappie, and I just figured, man, if you can get kids, put them on that, man.
Yeah, that's a good seller right there.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. That's so. But heavy rods, big jigs, he's responsible for all that. I mean, here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I kind of had my way, and he used to say, he's just, we've been guiding around each other for years, and just be on the phone. And I told him the other day, I said, we've been 16 years chasing these crappie together, And the great thing about that relationship that him and I have is, we learn from each other every day. Where you at? What you doing? You catching them, and not that we were competing or anything like that, but
I was teaching each other,
absolutely
learning, having fun,
absolutely, and and we all have our little network of what how that goes on.
Your Crappie Connection network.
Crappie Connection,
Yeah.
my Crappie network.
Yeah.
Being blessed to fish a national trail and meeting Brad Chappell and Justin Berry and Terry Stewart and
The list
Kent
goes on.
Driscoll
Yeah.
and Whitey Outlaw, all them guys, man, that you can learn something from all of them.
Yeah.
So
I want to ask you real quick. We was all talking over, and I heard you say, of course, I know you got Lifescope, but you made a quote, and you say, what'd you say? Everybody's glued to the screen.
everybody
I want you to explain
glued
yourself on that.
to the screen. From a guiding perspective, I have to be upfront with them. If we're doing a Lifescope trip, they will spend an hour or 2 hours, and I'm sure Josh has probably said the same thing, learning where to put their bait in front of the fish. Now, from Huckabee's perspective, and some of mine, we use Lifescope to put us on the fish, because a lot of the times you'll miss some good fishing if you're trying to see that fish. And maybe, there's guys that use Garmin that maybe they're better with it than I am, but when they start getting on the bottom and start getting real tight to structure,
Right.
they're hard to see. And if guiding, you're trying to get numbers or whatever the trip is for that day. Somebody wants to catch a trophy, man, we're gearing it up we're looking for that big suspended fishing. And I will tell you, because of Lifescope, I caught my biggest fish in Oklahoma. But I had a 4-day stretch where I caught giants all week, and I'm a big pattern guy. I go to a lake, you get on a pattern, I want to go to another part of the lake and fish the same pattern. It's not really just spots for me. I guess when you guide, and if you guide for years, some of your old clients are going to come back, and they're going to fish your spots where you took them. And
Right.
that's okay. Don't let that ruin, if you're a guide or starting a guide, don't let that ruin your day. Go, that just makes you a better fisherman. Go find some more
You got a
fish.
positive attitude on that.
Go find some more fish, because, but man, we're blessed with some lakes that got some fish in them.
You said you caught your biggest fish here?
259 was my biggest fish.
259.
Yeah, 259. I had a 259, a 240, 232, and a 220 in a 4-day stretch, 20 miles apart, fishing the same pattern. In February, I heard Robert.
Let's hear it.
Robert,
You know what I'm about to ask, don't you?
Yeah, let's go.
I want the pattern.
the pattern, I had always believed, I was taught when it was hot summertime, the fish go real shallow. And it's true if it's not very deep in the water that you're fishing. So if you go into a creek or a bay or a lake that's only 15 foot at its deepest point, and that heat makes them fish go up in the water column, I was taught, that's where they have to be. But here this last summer, I was taught the fish are deep when there's not a thermocline. They'll be down there deep. Some of the biggest fish in the last 10 days, 25, 27 foot of water, 14, 16 feet deep, where we're looking at them, and there was no other way, other than Lifescope, that we was catching. My favorite time of year,
He knew that was coming, I think.
February or March, when they're roaming. Used to, it was spider rigging.
Pre-spawn.
Pre-spawn. They're heavy. And I think that they're heavy in October all the way through. And I don't know, me and Darren had talked about this. I don't know if they're roaming right now. I don't know where they're roaming, because every fish you see right now is on the tree, on the structure. You pull them off the tree with a bait, they go right back to the tree, right back to the stake bed, right back to the stump. They don't leave it. I don't know why. And I say, well, Used to, I say, in the winter, if I saw a big catfish, I didn't see big crappie. Here lately, you catch catfish and crappie together. So I don't know what really
I saw that this week.
going on with that. A lot of catfish in the timber right now.
Same way in
Just
Mississippi.
Same way in Mississippi. Man, but those 4 days, the biggest fish was 2 feet deep in 20 foot of water. I seen her out, and she looked like a glistening shad. And what we'll do is, and Robert and them do it too, and a lot of these guys in Oklahoma, we'll flip to that fish. Now my brother, you watch him on ACT, the camera guys in the boat, and he's flipping, and at Ross, not at Ross, but at Darbone, he was, we'd pull that fish in about 15, 20 feet. Well, Darren was almost casting with an 11-foot rod, just flipping it way out there and trying to manipulate that bait to get it on that fish's nose. If we could do that without spooking it, we had a chance to catch that bigger tournament fish.
Just throw a bobber at it.
No, we didn't throw a bob. They were. If we could, if we could get them to stay still enough,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
But
the fish was moving.
the fish move. They move, but they don't move. They. How do I say this? Them big crappies stalk their prey. They sit, they swim, they sit, they swim, and they're up there in that water column. Now here's the deal. Now if you go in the wintertime with that favorite time, there's something. The sun does something, and I don't know what the sun does, but you can target every fish in the wintertime in 8 to 12 feet of water on the Gaines Creek Arm on Eufaula with a hair jig and catch every one of them just about. You put a big jig down there, they'll look at it for 2, 3, 5 minutes. They might eat it, they might not. Sun comes up, warms up a little bit. You see a fish up in the column roaming, less than 5 feet. It's going to be bigger than pound 3/4, 2 pounds.
We talked about this earlier, and it goes back to the podcast we finished up. But I believe that the most active fish are always going to be the highest.
I see that. I'm looking for them now. I don't see that right now in my lake.
What about on the brush piles?
On the brush piles, if they're tighter, they're harder to catch. If they're swimming around it, and it's a brush pile, what Missouri guys are going to call hedge trees. We call them bodark trees in Oklahoma.
What was they called? Bodark?
Bodarks.
Bodarks.
Bodark trees.
Okay.
I was in a place the other day, and I did a little video, and there was probably, 60, 70 fish I could count on my Lifescope on one tree. I caught 3 or 4. But I go to the stump beside it that's single. There's 2 fish on that. I flip a jig and catch both of them. So what are those fish doing that the fish in the brush pile or the stake bed, what are they doing? Are they out
What's
there
one of the
hunting?
things that, and I'm asking because I'm seeing this, like you got a brush pile and you got it's absolutely loaded, and these fish will not bite. What do you do at that point?
Man, if it's a tournament setting, I've got 4.
But fishing, we're not even talking about tournament.
Just fishing. You're just trying to catch. But anyway, you're going out
I'm
fishing.
catching. I'm gonna
Oh
be catching.
man, clear water, muddy water,
Muddy
what do you
water.
got?
Mississippi water.
Mississippi water. Big jig first. I'm gonna try the big jig. I'm gonna try to flip it out there and try to get it to come across that fish. I'm gonna try something. Like here lately, you flip it out there. There's something about you flip it out there and you flutter it up. Whether it's a big bait, you something happened. You flutter it up, let it go down. Flutter it up, let it go down. Like you would tell your kid, stop moving your pole. You ain't gonna get a bite. Well, and then he catches a big one. He's like, well, you don't know nothing about fishing. That's what's happened. If that don't work, you pull it.
So try something erratic.
Try something erratic. These guys are trying spoons right now. They're taking the front hook off a rattle trap. They're
Just
jigging
like
a rattle
bass
trap.
fishing. Just like bass fishing, when you're throwing a shaky head or something like that, you flip it up once or whatever. Just the same approach as what you're doing.
Yeah,
with the crappie.
absolutely. Hey, Huckabee said at one of the seminars last winter. Lifescope's teaching us, get ready to say that you're wrong, and you've been wrong.
Yeah, he
before,
said it
and
on
that's
our
okay.
podcast too. Yeah,
That's okay. If that means catching a fish, man, we've all been in the boat. One guy's wearing them out. You can't catch them. What are you gonna do? You gonna put your pole down and you sit there and watch him see what he's doing. Then we go to catching them. So, but yep.
Try erratic movement.
Erratic.
Any kind of new products that you've been dealing with, or?
ProBuilt's got a new jig head coming out, and ProBuilt's great, man. They're a great company, Mark and Shannon Cure. And I know that a lot of these guys call and they want something specific that they like. Mark and Shannon are best in the business of trying to accommodate what you want and what you've got. I always say the best jig head color, the best color jig is whatever you got the most confidence in, what you've caught the most fish on. They're trying to target the live scopers because most of the time live scoping, we're rigging a weight above the bait we were fishing because we want to put it on the fish. And what they've come up with is a jig head in all different weights, maybe up to a half ounce, with a swivel on top coming out of the middle and a swivel on the bottom coming out of the middle on the bottom, and you're able to tie it directly to the line. So you may have a Palomar knot on top, you may have a Palomar knot on the bottom. So instead of, they're trying to get away from that loop knot. A lot of guys have trouble with the loop knot. They say that top one breaks on me, or that hook, that hook, that eyelet on that hook is breaking that line when I set the hook, and that happens sometimes. But that's the deal. They're trying to give us another.
What size
variety.
is it going to be?
Eighth, quarter, 3/8 maybe, and a half. He hasn't come. It's not. It's in the working stages right now. We've had some prototypes. For guys at Spider Rig, I seen a rig, Charlie Bunton. Pre-ties his rigs, he gets away from the swivel. He ties a loop knot on top, and he leaves a leader line on top and ties his minnow hook on top, and he runs a jig head on the bottom. So it could be a way where you could you have the jig head on top, and you could have tandem axle and have them already pre-rigged. So when you go to break one off and you're rigging, tube jig rigging, or a jig and a minnow rig, you can just you can tie that back on. Because if you guiding and you got clients that are new with the long rod, you're gonna have some messes. You better have some pre-tied rigs. So it's going to target a lot of not just the live scopers, but the double dippers. All the
Are they
guys,
going to be colored?
I think they're going to be colored. Yes, knowing him, they will be. I don't know if I bet he offers them in all the colors that they make the jig heads, but it is still in the working stages. I don't know if he'll have them this next spring. I kind of think he will because he was pretty excited about it. The main thing is when you fish a quarter ounce head or a half ounce head and you're trying to get that bait down there, and let's just say we're the Bobby Garden nitty bit, and you've got a 32nd or a 64th ounce jig head on, or a 48th ounce jig head. You drop that bait down there on Lifescope, you can see your bait get tangled up with your weight. When that swivels on there, that bait has a little different action, and it does not get tangled up with that jig head. So something new.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Something new.
For sure.
So
I got a fun question for you. 15 years on water, what's the craziest trip you've had? Or is there one that sticks in your head?
Guys going in the lake on me.
Do what?
Guys going in the
Falling
lake
in.
Falling in?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that happen?
Well, it's happened about 3 times.
3 times?
3 times. The first one was an older gentleman. He's a big guy, 6'5", 350. He goes to set him in the seat, and he misses the seat and hits the deck and goes in the water.
Oh, man.
So, when somebody goes in the water, it's like forever before they come back up.
Yeah.
I didn't panic. Luckily I had the trolling motor already in the water, and I was able to grab his hands and put him on the deck of the boat. And I told him, he goes, I don't think I can make it much longer. His COPD, bad shape, bad health. And I get him to the bank, and it took us about 30, 45 minutes to get him back on the boat. So I'm figuring, we're going to go back to the truck because, it's a bad thing that happened. He wanted to go fishing. We kept fishing.
Really?
So that's probably the scariest, craziest thing that's happened.
Man. What month was that in?
May.
The water code?
May. It was in May. Luckily, it wasn't in
February,
January, February.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, but you always try to keep an extra set of clothes or something. I wouldn't have had an extra set of clothes big enough for that guy, but but that's probably the craziest thing that's ever happened to me.
You got any big superstitions?
Bananas on a boat, bad luck. And I got a story.
Let's hear it. I want to hear it.
I agree.
Banana. If you never had bananas on the boat, bad luck superstition. Here it is. we're talking about this bananas on the boats, and I got a good friend of mine. He's become a good friend. You know, the guys we guide lots and lots of times, and you get to know them. And he probably hires me 30 times a year. He comes down from Iowa. He's a funny gentleman, and we have a great trip, and we talk about bananas on the boat that day, and it was kind of cool. So he had a jacket, and he was an old trucker, so he always backs my boat in. He's real good at that. Get him in the boat, we go catch 55, 60, whatever, good trip. And to prove to me that was not a superstition, he pulls
I know this is going.
He pulls this banana out of his ice chest. He starts eating the banana and smiles at me. So I take off, and before I know it, his jacket's sitting right there. The wind catches the jacket. The jacket goes to the back of the boat. The motor, it catches on the motor. And this 72-year-old man is crawling on the deck of this boat trying to catch his jacket. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on, man? I mean, we're going to get the jacket. It's all right. He said, no, the keys are in the jacket. I said, what keys in the jacket?
Your keys.
He said, all the keys. So it was about a $700 mistake after he got done with it. You know, $300 for a fob truck key, $300 for a Toyota key. The only thing left in the pocket was his reading glasses and his room key to his cabin. That was
wow.
So there is not a banana on my boat ever. We don't even have no banana boat sunscreen on my boat. So, yeah, it was, and I had an extra key to my truck, and it was 4 hours later we had to have an extra key made. And if you look at my truck keys, they got a mossy oak fishing floaty on them for a reason. My school keys, my car keys, my truck keys, everything was on that ring.
That's right. You're a coach or something, aren't
I'm
you?
a football coach
Football
in Shakota,
coach.
Oklahoma, yeah.
How long you been doing that?
16 years.
16 years.
Prediction right now on your final record for the year.
Oh, man.
We're going to come back and see how accurate.
Yeah.
Last year I thought we was going to be pretty good, but we're not a big school, but we're not a small school, so we're always one kid away. If we lose a kid and one of our key kids, we get pretty average. But
Come on.
8-2.
8-2.
8-2.
Good season. We're gonna follow up with that.
Good season. Well, it's gonna come down on me. I'm the offensive coordinator, and I've got a Division I quarterback and Division I running back in the backfield.
Exciting year coming in, huh?
Line. Yeah, if we can keep them healthy, it's gonna be fun.
Man.
If we don't, we're gonna have to earn our money. We won't have to earn our money anyway, but.
That's awesome.
But last year I thought it was going to be really good, and the running back I had last year, he dives for the end zone and comes up limping, breaks 3 little bones on the top of his foot. Takes him 10 weeks to get back. So we went from possibly playing for the district championship, and anyway, it was a 5-way tie for first place going into week 10. And if we'd have beat the team in week 10 by 9, we'd have still went to the playoff. But we were the odd man out, and we just beat each other up in our district, and sometimes it's tough. Man, you guys know, you SEC guys.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't watch football.
You,
I don't either.
You SEC and you don't watch football.
I don't watch football.
Oh,
I don't watch football. Only football I watch is my kids play. Other than that, I don't know. I guess I'm weird like that. I don't watch a lot of sports.
are you Ole Miss?
No. Mississippi State.
You Mississippi State.
Yes,
That's
sir.
good. Y'all beat
Yes, sir.
Alabama.
Yeah, so I'm the oddball out. When everybody starts talking about sports, I'm over here like, man, we should talk about something else. But anyway, I hate to cut you off. We got to get downstairs for the
That's fine, man. It's
whatever.
been
But
fun.
is there anything else you want to add real quick?
Man, I don't know.
Maybe a big tip that you can give all the anglers just listening in right now.
About that big tip.
No bananas, I would say.
No
No
bananas.
bananas.
No bananas on the boat. Get on a tournament trail if you want to learn to be a better crappie fisherman. I think this is my first time to be able to fish nationally because of some
pretty
great
cool, ain't it?
sponsors.
What's the farthest one you attended?
Gunnersville.
Mhm.
It was 10 hours.
I like to fish down there. Was it a good fishery?
First fish we caught it weighed 237.
Really?
We looked
White
at each
crappie,
other.
black crappie?
White crappie.
White crappie.
But it was white and black. There was a 4-way tie, 3 white and 1 black at all weighed 269 going in the last day, and it was
That's
broke
a
by a
slab.
hybrid that weighed 316.
Man.
Caught with a 6-foot rod casting.
6-foot rod casting.
6-pound test line, 316.
Wow.
Hybrid crappie.
Anything else you want to add,
No,
Chapel?
man. We'll see you later, and
Oh,
appreciate
man.
your time.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey,
guys.
appreciate
you guys
it,
are doing
man.
a great thing.
Appreciate it a lot.
All right, buddy.
God, man.
Well, I'm Justin Berry.
Brad Chapel.
Brian Young, appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah.
Other than that, guys, we'll see y'all later.
Always remember cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift away.